Today we will talk about submitting a state match fund request. Agencies receiving federal funds that call for a state match will create a new eCivis project to use their corresponding SBA-created organizational funding source to fulfill their state match.
Now, it's important for the agencies to know that SBA will create one organizational funding entry for each appropriate agency. The funding title will be the agency's name with state match fund and the state fiscal year succeeding it. So let's show you how to do this. We're going to go to our organization funding link that's under the research tab. Now we're going to look for what I described, which is state match fund, Indiana Department of Alpha, with the state fiscal year 24. And there it is right at the top. So once we found the organizational funding, again, that SBA created, we're going to click our little Save Assign Grant icon on the right-hand side, and we're going to assign this grant to a new project. So now we're going to create a project for the state match fund that was created by SBA. So first of all, we have to select a department, and when it's our Department of Alpha. The next line we'll fill is the project line. Now it's got some very specific naming conventions, but as you can see, it needs to begin with state match, space hyphen, the name of the project, space hyphen, along with the federal fiscal year. The next part we're going to do is select a project lead for this. We'll just select myself. Since this is a non-construction project, we will leave it non-construction. Again, we will leave those internal project ID and internal project names blank. The next line we'll explore is the project summary, and the agency eCivis user can just be very specific about what they are doing and just simply put a one-sentence summary. This is the state match project for state match community facility direct program, federal fiscal year 2024. Underneath that is an application required for this grant. Agencies will select no. The grant has already been awarded, so they'll skip that under consideration and award projected, and we will go straight to grant awarded. As we scroll down, we'll fill in the projected award. Now, with this state match that was projected, it was projected at $500,000, so that's the amount that I will put in the projected award line. Have you received your grant award notification? Yes, I did receive a notification, so I'll leave it at yes. Do you consider this a competitive grant? We will select no. Award notification, you'll put the date that you received your notification of this award, so we will put just today. And again, you will put that award notification if it's any different, but for this example, what we'll do is we'll keep it as the same as the projected awarded indicated up top, $500,000. The next few lines we'll leave blank. The match required, since we're creating a project for the state match fund, we will leave this indicated as no. And so what we'll do is we'll leave that match type blank below. In the spaces below would normally help describe the match required. But since we are creating a project for a state match fund, we will leave these lines blank, but we will put the contract start date. So for this project, the contract date start date was May 1st, 2024, and it will run into a year later when the end date will be April 29th, 2025. You can set a reminder for your whole team for the contract close date to help remember as you begin to finish up those tasks before project closeout. This is a reimbursement award type. The next line you'll fill out is your UEI number. And again, you can leave your DUNS number and grantor contract number blank, along with underneath that, the internal grant ID and the internal grant name lines will be also left blank. Now this is important because normally with these grant tags, you would indicate that it is state match included, but for this state match project, you will not indicate that it is a state match included, and instead you will select not applicable. And that's only for when you're creating a state match project based on your state match fund. If there's anything that the SBA office needs to know about this, any updates to your project, adjustments, you can put that in the notes summary box. The next line we'll go to is your allocation option. Are awarded funds to be available to use as pass-through funding? We'll say yes, and we'll just leave, for this example, the $500,000 as the amount intended to be used as for pass-through funding. And the last line we'll explore is the attach files line. And what we'll do is we'll attach the award notification letter. So we'll click here and we'll find our letter.
And we'll attach our award notification in the Department of Alpha. And as you can see, our hyperlink has been populated underneath the file name on that line. We'll click close to complete that process.
And you can see that that hyperlink is populated in between the attached file line and the bottom line. We'll click save to complete this process. Now, in doing so, this will create a couple of automated tasks similar to the ones that the project will receive as you are taking your project through the approval process. So what we'll do now is we'll go to our projects and we'll go to find my projects.
When I find my program, State Managed Community Facility Direct, we'll click on that, and then you'll see that there have been some automated tasks that have been created down in my pending task table. On the top row, we have Request Approval SBA Finance Funding Source Approval task. Second line, we're going to have our SBA Analyst Allot Control or State Match Request task. And then on the third one, we have our Contract Close task. Now that's the one we're just going to leave alone for this demonstration because that's only going to be addressed when the project is nearing its end and it's time to begin the closeout task process. Both of these tasks will be assigned to the project lead to complete, and a checkbox appears under the Done column in the pending task section. If these tasks need to be reassigned to another project team member, simply just click on the task name hyperlink. And when you click on that, you'll get a window that pops up and you'll see a drop-down box where you can reassign the task to another person on your project team. So you'll be able to click that drop-down box and assign it to the appropriate person. And you click Save. So the first one we'll look at is the Finance Funding Source Request. We'll click on this. Now this will be another task that you will be required to attach your funding source request form. So as you can see, there are two hyperlinks here, but neither one are the personalized files that I created. So we're going to click on the vanilla folder and we'll browse to select. And then once we search my personal files, we're going to do our funding source request form, Indiana Department of Alpha. And then you'll see the hyperlink populate the line in between the file name and the other blank templates. We'll click close to complete this process. And then once you get a hyperlink with a blue box white check mark, that will mean that you have completed and attached the necessary form. And any notes to approver to any updates on the information about the funding source request can go right here. Otherwise, click Save to complete this process. Now, once you have sent your funding source approval task over to the SBA office and they have completed the task and approved the task, that task will disappear from your pending task table. So as you can see in front of us, there's no longer an SBA Finance Funding Source Approval task. The next task we'll go to is the Request Approval SBA Analyst Allotment Control or State Match Request. So we'll click on the Done box to begin the process. The task description will be here, and it's a little bit longer than the rest. This will be another place to attach your state match form. And so what we'll do is we'll click on the vanilla folder again, and we'll attach my state match 2024 Indiana Department of Alpha. As you can see, it's populated on the file name line at the bottom. Click close to complete this process. Any notes to approver about the state match request needs to go into the notes to approver box. Otherwise, the hyperlink with the blue box white check mark will be an indication that you have completed this process. You'll click Save to complete the process. Once that task has gone to the SBA office and has been completed by the SBA analyst, that task will disappear from the task line in your pending task table. And as you can see, we are only left with one task, and that is the contract close task. And again, that will be completed at near the end of the completion of your project for that year. Once those two automatic tasks are completed, the funding source number ID for this project will be communicated to the state agency in two ways. First, with an automatic eCivis Grants Network generated email indicating that the request approval finance funding source approval task has been completed and approved by SBA. In this email, at the bottom of the message, there'll be a notes section where the SBA representative will enter that funding source number ID. And additionally, when you go up to the contracts and account for this project, and then you will go over to your grant internal grant ID line, and that is where the SBA representative will populate that line with the funding source number ID.